Hey everyone, welcome to Smash Trivia. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. So excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows, and I also do random other geeky films. Occasionally, not so geeky ones too. And I also like to mix things up once in a while by not reviewing anything. Hope you enjoy Smash Trivia Presents The Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they can please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. And Smash Trivia has a Patreon too, so please check that out. We have some fantastic extra content on there. I bet you'll have a Hulk smashing good time. The tiers are as follows: $1 a month is Hulkaholic for $1, $3 a month is The Reading Room with Hulky and Shulky, and $5 a month is Smashing the TV. I also now offer custom trivia games on Fiverr, so if you want to take your game night to the next level, you can hire me. A link to the Fiverr is in the episode description. The Gamma Analysis is also a part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Now that we have all that important stuff out of the way, let's smash right into this episode. Hello, my Gamma friends. Today I'm joined by my co-host Keith. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm doing good, John. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You guys, as probably noticed, I have created a new intro for my show. So I hope you guys enjoy it. That intro, and let me know what you guys think of it. And for this episode, we're reviewing the 70s Incredible Hulk episode from season 2, which is episode 5, titled "A Child in Need." For our Hulkaholic for $1, we have Derek Sager, Gabriel Floral, Film Critter, and Stephen W. And a couple things before we get into this review. One, disclaimer: this episode deals with child abuse, including beatings and an abusive father. So if any of that is triggering to you, I don't recommend listening to this episode. And this is a triggering one for me because of my childhood. So this will be a very emotional episode. And I it might be also for Keith, because I know you've dealt with some stuff in your childhood.
Yes.
And finally, last thing before getting into this review is I wanted to say some words about my friend Tyler, who passed away last week in a car accident. Tyler was awesome. He was the best godson I could have ever asked for. And I'm so glad that that the day that he was confirmed into the church, I was asked to stand up there with him as his godfather. That I am. It is very saddening that this happened. He wasn't even 20 yet, and all I can really say more is you need you never know when something like this is gonna happen. So make sure that the people you love know that you love them, and it's because one day you might not be able to make sure that they know that anymore. I had not talked to Tyler in probably over a year, but and I don't know if he knew how much I loved him, but I'll love him. And the end of my days is even after he's passed. He'll always has been an important part in my life.
Very well said, John. My condolences.
Thank you.
We carry the ones we lose in our hearts and our minds, and that was very well said.
Thank you. All right, so let's get into this review of A Child in Need. So first to start off, I'll say this is an episode I think is well made. I can't say it's an episode I enjoy a hell of a lot for obvious reasons.
Again, let's watch it again, John. It doesn't have that kind of rewatch value. You're right.
Yeah. I do you think they did well with portraying an abusive father other as they as there are a lot of things, a lot of moments in this where I remember back to things from my childhood, and I could feel the way I felt with my dad. Like I like the scene where he's telling his son that he wants a beer, and he wants it, he's like, I want I to be the kid who brings it to me.
Yeah.
I've experienced that before, and then that terror, the era that follows of you walking slowly up to your father, the other, and then also like another time where I've literally experienced this exact thing. Well, two things. One, where he's like, he as he's running towards him, yelling, "When I get my hands on you, oh," and all. And then there's like, "What do we have to do to get you to behave?" I've experienced those exact lines from my dad. It and then like how he's really good at having a completely different personality when he's around others that might not like most people would not have known that my dad was the person that he was, because us when they saw him, he was a completely nice person. But when he's alone with the family, it's different.
No, I think it definitely portrayed a lot of those very common
Mm-hmm.
things very well. For even as you know, this is a very
Yeah.
hyper dramatized kind of almost soap opera-ish kind of show. In its most serious moments, things are still very over the top. It's the
Yeah.
70s. It's television. It's not going to be like watching some like critical acclaim movie
Mm-hmm.
nowadays.
Oh
But
yeah.
the stuff that they take seriously, they do resonate. They do very well. In
Yeah.
such a even in such a silly sci-fi show like the Hulk. It was jarring to me how much how much was shown, and the way it was shown, almost like a shot kind of like a horror film.
Yeah.
And a lot of the camera angles on Mark, and how the dad's coming closer to him, and just the dead on kind of
Oh yeah.
angle, almost like looking down the barrel of a gun kind of thing as the
Yeah.
camera approaches him, like the father is, and that whole thing of him asking for the beer, my wife sneaking around in the background.
Yeah.
my whole my whole thing of him telling Mark to bring him the beer, and demanding it, so that
Yeah.
demanding it that it's the kid that bring it to him. So that to me means that not only you, not only I, but maybe the writers of the show and many anecdotal things that they've heard from other people,
Mm-hmm.
that is such got to be such a common thing that they knew that it would dramatically resonate with the
Oh
viewer
yeah.
as a trope, a common thing. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't think I've felt. I've. There have been many things that I've seen before where I've felt quite this much of how it's done on
Yeah.
with it, and giving me that terror that I
Mhm.
felt in real life. I've like one of the only other times that I can remember of it, a song making me feel like this, is actually from another Marvel show. And one that it probably would be surprising to hear, because it's because it is one of the lower rated Marvel Netflix shows, Iron Fist. There's a scene in it where this rich asshole old man is and murders his assistant after the assistant
Mhm.
asked for vanilla ice cream,
Right.
and that was absolutely terrifying for me to
Yeah.
watch.
The villain in season one, he was incredibly. I've never seen a villain quite like him, one that's losing his mind
Hmm.
and such a huge power trip, and he's lost his connection to humanity because I think the character's arc in that is that he's first just found out that he is immortal, or at least been made to be immortal, so
Hmm.
he's kind of losing his touch
Yeah.
with what it is to be a person. And he just starts going crazy
Oh,
on
yeah.
his assistant. That I remember that scene. That was effective. That was one of the better parts of that whole arc.
Oh,
In
yeah.
in
It
him
it
and his son Ward had two of the best arcs in that season, I think.
it surprising to me that a show like Iron Fist would have
Mm.
would have got me feeling like that. But yeah, it like this I don't feel like I feel like this often when watching things, even if it's something that deals with an abusive father. There have been abusive fathers throughout the MCU, and
Yeah.
most of them I don't feel anything of a connection. Like the
Yeah.
closest is from MCU stuff that I've ever felt a connection to. And I think it's because they actually started to go a little bit deep into it. Is Shang-Chi?
Ah, yeah, yeah. For me, it was more Moon Knight in the abusive mother in that. And
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, my mother wasn't abusive at all, and has never been. But the way that they portrayed, the fear of sitting in the room, the bedroom,
Yeah.
and waiting for them to break the door down, or waiting for them to come deal with you and what you'd done or something like that was,
Yeah.
yeah, that was very well portrayed, very authentic. And you mentioned a really good point in this episode about the father, the actor playing the father. I'm not sure. For once, I don't have the actors' names in front of me and
Hmm.
memorized. But the guy playing, is it Jack? The dad's name? I think it's no, it's
Maybe.
not Jack.
I'm not sure.
But the dad is so. When you first meet him, isn't he in like a sweater vest doing some gardening? Like he's
Yeah.
so unassumingly kind and sympathetic, and he's thinking about how
Yeah.
stressed out his wife has been, and he loves poor Mark, and
Hmm.
coming home with grades, or coming home with bruises. Oh, we'll have to take care of him. Like you wouldn't have assumed that was him, and that portrayal of not only an abusive father but of alcoholism, the idea
Hmm.
of the Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, that this person isn't um he's not himself all the time. He's two people inside, and they're battling for control. Is a
Yeah.
very interesting way to look at something in a show like this. I was shocked.
One thing I can't say whether it's accurate because I know it's not accurate to my situation, but but it may be to others. Within my situation, nobody would have been able to tell if my dad beat me. If like this kid has all these bruises all over him, they
Yeah,
can't, so it's very
true.
obvious that people will be able to tell. In my situation, my dad, he knew how to hurt people in ways where they would not bruise, so that no one could tell.
Yeah, and I think that's more often the case in real life. I think the convenience of his arms being bruised in this episode to incite the conversation with David was very much a quick way to get to the cut to the chase.
Mhm.
But you're right, you're absolutely right, and I think the workaround he gets from, I thought the mother was actually abusive when I first started listening to it, and watching it. I was like, oh, so he's gonna go talk to her, and then things got weird with her, but the dad seemed so nice in that first meeting. So I was
Mhm.
like, oh, it must be the mom. The mom's beat. I was like, oh, it's just like
So,
Moon Knight. My goodness. But yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. Some people are so methodical, in that
uh,
they know that they're doing something wrong, but they're thinking, oh, as long as the world doesn't know.
yeah.
It's a very
No,
methodical way to do it.
I was very surprised that they actually brought into it that the father had been abused by his father. Like
Hmm.
that, I'm very surprised for that show from the 70s. So they used to bring that in.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly the situation with my dad. The thing is, but one thing I don't like is that they kind of try to make it seem like he's not a bad guy. I
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it if the fact that he was abused when he was a child makes it okay that he's done these
Yeah.
things to his kid, which is like no, that's not okay. And also he shouldn't be just allowed to come back to his family right after
Mhm.
some treatment. No, he should be put in prison.
Yeah.
He
Yeah, put
and
on
but
in prison, put
also
into a program for alcoholism, get him sober,
yeah,
get him
and
doing time and counseling.
and
Yeah.
then one thing where I think the show actually really messed up of like how it's not at all what it's like in real life is he would not be able to get through those years and years of trauma from his dad in just less than a month's time. Like
Oh God, no.
they're
Yeah.
like, oh, he'll be back in a month and he'll be fine then. Like when he comes back, he's gonna immediately start beating Annie's child
Yep.
again. That's
Yep.
just like and the kid actually was expecting that because as the kid mentioned, what good is it gonna do? You take him away for a bit and
Yeah.
then just bring him back because he's going to just start doing this again.
Yeah, it's weird. They almost like wrap it up too quickly, and they're like, "Wait a minute, you're ignoring the simple fact the kid had already mentioned how useless that's going to be."
Mm-hmm.
You guys just
Yeah, and
kind of
he
wrap things
like,
up like, "Oh yeah, we'll be
but
back
also
in one
like,
day."
also David's like, all I will always be here for you, or you, and then at the end of the episode, he's like, I gotta go. Yeah, I'm never
Gotta
gonna see you
go.
again, basically.
Like I was already like, thank God we already know David at this point, so we know that this kid going over to his
Yeah,
groundskeeper's house after meeting him, like after hanging out with him for 3 seconds, he goes over to his apartment. I'm
yeah,
like, oh, at least we know that David's a good guy, but don't do this at home, kids. Don't
no,
try
no,
this.
don't do this. But also, though, I'm sorry, but David is a dumbass for getting a job as a groundskeeper, where kids are going to be stepping all over his crops, like if you're trying to stop yourself from getting angry,
Yeah.
that's not a good choice.
Although we should talk about this later. I have a few points about the Hulk in this episode that we've never seen a few things in here before. This
Mm-hmm.
episode means a lot as far as developments we've never seen for the Hulk. But to your point about that the father should not be able to be counseled for a month and then totally back into society, into his family's lives. He needs to have like chaperoned visits with
Yeah,
a child protective services agent. Like there needs to be a lot more control around how he sees his
yeah.
son in the
Look,
future. And it
it's
should they sorry, go ahead.
it's just like the Ezra Miller situation. Like people are like, oh, there'll be some people are like, oh, Ezra needs help, and we should be wanting to get Ezra help. Okay, yes, but also Ezra deserves to have consequences for
Yeah.
these bad things that they did. Like this, just that's like with an abusive father. You can't just as be like, oh, the dad is dad goes and gets its treatment, and he should just not have any consequences whatsoever
Yeah.
for his actions. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of dumb.
They were treating it almost like it was two things in one. Like the dad is both an alcoholic
Hmm.
and an abusive father. Those two things separately should be treated separately as two very different
Yeah.
consequences. Yes, I'm all for alcoholism being treated like a disease. Get this person help, get this person treatment, and get them on a path to stick to their guns, get away from it,
Hmm.
and find the part of their lives that they're missing by drinking it all away and hiding things or numbing themselves
Yeah.
to the therapy that he should be getting about his own father and his own experiences and guide him in the way that he needs to be guided so that he does not just repeat the same things that he did that it was done to him, but then
Hmm.
also he's already committed crimes. So
Yes.
he is an abuser. It's about the actions that you carry out. There are some alcoholics that would never hurt a fly. They'd never touch somebody. They'll scream and holler and make other damage in other ways, but the that scenario, that home life shouldn't exist either. But they you can't put them in the same category as someone doing
Hmm.
assault. Like actual assault on someone
Yeah.
is a way bigger way bigger consequence.
Hmm.
So yeah, I agree.
Uh, um, he let's see. Trying to think.
You noticed the last name that David took in this episode?
Baxter, I believe. Yeah.
He's now using. He's like, oh man, now I have to think of all the B names of the people that I met in season 1. And come.
Oh, well, this one thing
Baxter,
that's
Baxter.
I find very interesting in me that kind of makes me wonder what was happening in the world the year that the first season came out, because is this episode, at least according to the trivia section on IMDb, this episode was filmed during season 1, but they pushed it to season 2 because of the subject matter.
Oh, oh,
It
that's
really makes
interesting.
me wonder
Just
what
this
was
episode.
going on. Yeah, what
That
was
is
going
interesting.
on that they would push it to a later time.
I wonder if it was a mere matter of also just getting a chance to let the character breathe and make his way into people's homes and on their TV sets each
That
week
could be.
at a level of trust before unleashing this kind of episode. This is almost like an after school special. This is a freaking horror show. It's a
Oh
drama.
yeah.
It's an after school special. It's a hey, don't
Oh.
tell somebody if you see something, say something type of thing. Oh my
Mhm.
god, the neighbors alone were so infuriating.
Now, one thing I very much did not like is that throughout the show, Hulk has never had been unwilling to fight back against people that are that he's fighting. But then with this abusive father, he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna let you hit me, and I'm not gonna do anything that'll actually hurt you at all. Like I'm like, I feel like someone who is such a shitty person like this abusive father should be more. You should
Yeah,
be
yeah.
hitting them more than you should than any of these normal villains in the episodes.
Yeah. I think well and far be it for me to think that Hulk himself had this in mind, but I think the creators of the show were thinking, okay, you're taking out your aggression and your own past on your
Mhm.
son, who is a defenseless, maybe like 70 pounds soaking wet kid. Um, that is the easiest target as far as size, as far as durability. Like this person has no fighting chance of being able to fight back. You are in total because it's all a power thing, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who you look into the psychology behind assault, it is all about power. And so to have Hulk be the perfect punching bag and be this character that this fictional thing that can be beaten by this man and not budge, not bruise, not even feel it.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm just going to let you tucker yourself out. And I don't know that Hulk knew that about abuse or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe Hulk and David inside his head were basically telling them the same thing. Don't hit him
Yeah.
back because that's not teaching him anything. But I think that's more of a statement to make as the show.
Yes.
Maybe not a decision that the Hulk consciously made, but
I guess. Yeah, but yeah, I just feel that like we don't someone who's such a shitty person, like an abusive father, we don't need to be giving them like mercy or something. Like we like
yeah,
he's like if anyone if there could be anyone in the show
yeah.
that Hulk could beat up to the brink of death, I would want it to be
Mhm.
someone like this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. And,
Um,
and I think that we both have that kind of biased look
yeah,
on
obviously,
what it would
I
be.
see.
I mean, Hulk's fought henchmen,
I
he's fought murderers, he's fought all sorts of like. I think I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it's maybe not as far as rape, but he's
Hmm.
fought people who are definitely capable of that and
Yeah.
maybe have done it. I think it's season 1 mainly. I'm mainly thinking of the guy who was really creepy at the Orange Grove,
Hmm.
like episode 2, I think it was. That guy creeped the hell out of me, and to see that guy get flung across the room, I'm happy
Yeah.
to see that. But yeah, you
Uh,
get these creepy dudes, and they get all sorts of flung all over the damn place, and then the one guy who we would love to see get his clock cleaned
mhm.
falls on the floor
Yeah.
crying instead. And they kind of embellish the whole fact that he has a sickness and
Hmm.
that he doesn't know what he's doing, and they give him a lot more sympathy than what we would probably give him today.
Yeah.
So yeah,
One thing I do want to mention that I think is important. Now, like Hulk and Banner's actions in this episode, they don't feel like they're like particularly personally motivated. which that the reason for that is because at the point that this episode had came out, the idea of Banner and Hulk having an abusive father had not been around in the comics yet. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
okay.
that started in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
Um,
that's interesting. I wonder if it was incited by this. Is that what you're
maybe,
wondering?
maybe.
Hmm.
One thing I really liked because it is something that I can definitely relate to myself is that I love where the little kid said it would be nice to have the powers of the Hulk to be
Oh yeah,
like it like yeah
that
because
hit home.
yeah that it
Yeah,
does
of
because
course,
it
of
like
course.
always wanted to be strong enough that I could stand up to my dad, and I never was able to be. And and I've talked to multiple people who have said that's probably part of why you relate to the Hawk is you wish you had those abilities. You wish you
Yeah,
were able to be strong in the face of these dangers.
yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite characters, or some of my favorite characters in comic books, are shapeshifters. I enjoy them the most because they could very easily adapt to any situation, blend in with a crowd, and there are definitely some deep seated psychological reasons behind that. Um, but the yeah, 100% makes sense that they would have this kid point out exactly what the kid would really be thinking. That
Mm-hmm.
hey, what about a level playing field? What about being able to intimidate him the way he intimidates me,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it
I
be a snap of a finger,
I've mentioned a lot throughout the show about how I feel like Banner needs to start realizing how much of a hero the Hulk really is, and I feel like
Yeah.
a line like that from a little kid
Hmm.
could give him like a lot of of what he needs to start believing that. Like he
Yeah.
really after that he should be like, wow, I've been thinking about this all wrong.
Yeah. And I don't know where does he stand right now, as far as we haven't seen him really. And you saying that this is an episode from that they shot in season 1 and that they pushed to season 2, but where is he right now as far as trying to cure himself? It's been a
He's
while since he's brought
well,
that up, I feel.
last episode he was trying to cure himself with the with at the horse race
Oh
race with the
yeah.
he was trying to cure himself with some kind of tea thing that they were
Right,
making.
right. I would love for him to revisit the psychological experiments and procedures that he was
Mm-hmm.
doing at the beginning of this season, where he was talking about the cage in the desert and being out there and trying to
Yeah,
figure out how to trap him. Or that was that this season?
yeah,
It
that
was,
was the
wasn't it?
season.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was the
but,
beginning episode with the new wife and everything that he had.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
premiere episode.
I wouldn't be surprised if part of why he doesn't want to continue that is because it makes him think of that wife since she passed away.
True. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
There's three things that I learned from this episode when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to Hulk's character specifically.
Okay.
One is that he is getting less and less careful, or at least less and less scared of certain people knowing that he's the Hulk. He has a new friend in this kid who knows 100%
Yeah.
who he
Which
is, and
which
he's made a new dude, a new friend.
since this is actually really an episode from season one, I guess that's because they planned it to be that.
Mhm.
That kid actually might be the first person since the pilot episode that he actually told.
Yeah, I
Because
wondered
they
too, because I
because
turned my head. I was like, wait a minute, is he the only one that knows?
well, we don't. He's told multiple people
People who.
this season with from he's told the chief if
True, true,
last
yeah.
episode he told his previous his wife who passed away in the premiere, but because of the fact that this is technically an episode from season one, on this kid might be the first person he told
Yeah.
since whatever the first lady was that passed away in the
Yeah,
pilot.
you and I both have trouble remembering that woman's name. Although Elena Marks, I'm never gonna forget
Mhm.
it. But this lady, his new wife, what the hell? No,
Uh,
it's yeah, yeah. It could be the first kid. The kid could be the first one, and it's nice to see that some people are in on the secret, whereas
mhm.
some superheroes have like they never let anybody know their alter ego. Whereas this superhero doesn't get to choose that
Yeah.
all the time, and with the ones that he's just okay with knowing,
Mhm.
it's pretty shocking. It's kind of nice.
I thought it was really cool the actually the scene where he where the kid finds out because I think it was a really cool transition back to Banner. Like that I thought that was really
Through
cool
the
them going
shadows of
through.
the
Yeah.
alleyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say that. That's one of my favorite things that we learned or we saw this time is that he didn't have to pass out somewhere in order
Hmm.
to change back. He kind of was probably in mid action and remembered a lot more too, because he's always treated it like a blackout. Like he doesn't like, please remind me what happened. Like, how did I get this wound, or how did this happen, or that happen? And it's like, no, this time you just walked through under a couple of streetlights and you were suddenly David again. Like,
Yeah.
and he says, like, I know this happens. It's hard to explain.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, you remember everything. That was kind of nice. That was
Well,
going to be my second thing. Is this? So not only that, but the he. This is the most I've seen David get angry and not turn into the Hulk in a while.
yeah, definitely.
Like him screaming with the neighbors and going across the street and pleading with them to help and call the cops and whatever. And they're just like, no, I can't get involved. That guy's crazy. And it's just like, he's so pissed off. And it takes him
Uh-huh.
getting pushed. What was it? Pushed over the railing.
Um,
Finally turns him.
no, actually, yeah, I know. I think he turns after as one of the neighbors shuts their door in his face.
Oh yeah. He looks
Uh,
back at the house. He looks back at
mm-hmm.
them, and then suddenly the green or the white contact lenses come in, and he turns
Yep.
around and he looks away from the door. And yeah, I remember that now.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing I learned about in this episode is that Bill Bixby looks good in a black turtleneck. And at the end of this episode, it's his sad man walk, the lonely man theme that comes up is in this black turtleneck, and he looks so charming. And I'm like, most people can't pull
Uh,
off a turtleneck, but that's besides the point.
so, what did you think of the school nurse character? I it kind of it kind of annoyed me with her at first with like how she was like she cared more about her job
Yeah.
than this kid's safety. Like
And he
it's
had to keep like blackmailing, or not blackmailing, but he had to keep
mm-hmm,
like threatening to, if you don't go to them, I will. And it's just he keeps saying that to her and to the wife. And I think to me the character was meant to do two things. A, show that this is a common thing, that people turn their
yeah.
blind eye toward it, and they care that they have all these reasons to maybe forget they saw anything or whatever, and that was a common thing, and to be
Oh yeah.
aware of it, tell the audience that these people exist, and that, hey, just because the nurse says he fell down doesn't mean he fell down. And the other thing is to kind of make David more of a hero by being the only person to be
Makes
able to
sense.
speak up. Yeah, it was a weird time. I can only imagine what child abuse, how it was dealt with in the 70s,
Yeah.
and how they based this episode off of true events, or anecdotal evidence and stories in the writers room. Who knows?
Hmm.
But yeah, it
Um
annoyed me though. It's just short answer, it did annoy me.
yeah, it was yeah, like it reminds me of like how I feel about with Captain America with his with how so we're supposed to believe that that after he went back in time to put the Infinity Stones back, it's supposed to be the same timeline, these
Right.
timeline, and if that's the case, that means he was he knew that Bucky was being tortured on by Hydra, and then but he just left it alone,
Yeah.
which I'm a kind of person who's of the opinion of, if you know something's happening and you have the power to stop it, you're a shitty person if you don't stop it.
Yeah. Well, it's like with great power comes great responsibility, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
and the horror. Like one thing that always bothered me, as much as I love the movie, Captain America: Civil War, when they basically sum up the same phrase that everyone's sick of hearing when it comes to Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility, and Tom Holland instead says, "When you're strong like me, and then the bad things happen, and you don't do anything." It's just like, okay, you can just say it one more time. Just stop beating around the bush. With great power comes great responsibility. I know you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
paraphrase, but no,
Yeah.
you're right that it does make you kind of a shitty person. I never even thought about Bucky being tortured and how Cap just lets that happen. You're right. What the
Yeah.
hell? Way to fuck Bucky over, man.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny to be to me the fact that any time travel fiction has its definite problems and
Oh yeah.
confusion and loopholes, and if you really analyze it. But you're right. He chose to, as Tony said, get that life. Tony kept telling me to get. Um, he chose to serve himself in being with his love, his long love, instead of doing all these other great things that could maybe have messed up a lot of things. But now we're in such a
Yeah.
state that everything's fucked up and all the timelines are fucked up anyway.
Oh
So
yeah.
it really you got to weigh all those things, like how much self-sacrifice did Cap do, and does it excuse the things that he ignored, that he knew he could do something with,
Oh yeah.
having been able to time travel.
Yeah. Um.
Good point.
One thing. Going back to this episode. So, I looked at the goofs section on IMDb for this episode, and there was one thing here that I do find very funny. So, when David says regarding Mr. Hollinger, he's also a child beater, and that makes him very dangerous.
Right.
If you can, apparently I didn't notice this, but apparently you can notice that the word child is overdubbed. And originally he said and he's also an egg beater, which and that makes him very dangerous. The goof made several TV show outtakes and blooper reels over the years before the correction.
What? They didn't have a single other take of him saying the actual line.
I guess.
That's amazing. Olympics cracking everybody up on set.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, and I imagine with the source material, or the subject matter of something as serious as this, it
Mhm.
would almost be so it'd be so easy to want to break up the tension on set. I mean, you've got these people pretending like they've just been punched, like the wife being punched in the eye. She's got a black eye now. She's crying. She's
Oh yeah.
desperate, and then in between takes to carry that weight of that moment when
Mhm.
you're just shooting an hour TV episode and you're only going to be in one episode. It's like, okay, everybody
Yeah.
just let Bill Bixby say egg beater.
So,
that's, that's funny.
yeah.
I'm glad he did that.
Another thing that I do think is very accurate, and this is one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand actually with people who are in abusive situations. You see throughout the episode, the mom is defending him and because of how scared of him he is, but also because she loves him. And
Mm-hmm.
that's I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, she's be abused, but she does still love she does love this guy, and also she's scared too, as she is also a victim, and that's why she doesn't take the kid Mark away from the situation, because she's scared of what
Yeah.
might happen, and that is very true of real life. There'll be people who will try to say, like, oh, why didn't you just leave the person? It's like, it's not that
Yeah.
simple. And
Mm-hmm.
people who haven't been through a situation like that, they don't understand that.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that part of the show, and you've been very authentic and honest and vulnerable in this episode, and I'll share a little bit myself. about my own experience here. That was one of my biggest life learning things or epiphanies over the years is the relationship my mom had with what was going on for those many years, when we were kids, and how she dealt with it and how she rationalized and how it was something so much more difficult than I understood in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
at the time, to leave him or to break up or to split the
Yeah.
family, and the upbringing that she had and what it meant to her, the longevity of their relationship and how long they've known each other, how it's like basically they've known each other since like middle of high school, and it's like that is a different time, different era, very complicated situation. And to keep making excuses, or some people as an outsider would view the family and say, what are you doing, you're putting them at jeopardy or whatever, and to keep making excuses, whereas that decision is so much more ripple effect than they
Oh
understand,
yeah.
and they're not understanding the mental state
And
of the person in the abusive relationship. We know that the complications with an abusive parent, we love them even though they've done what they've done, and that's a hard
mm-hmm.
thing to come to terms with and to understand. It's like, how could someone that hurt you as much as they do, love you, and how could you still love them even though they've hurt you as much as they
Yeah.
have? It's crazy to think about, um, but it is true, and it's what makes these things, these homes and these families so complicated. And I was impressed as hell
Mm-hmm.
with the authenticity of the mother
Oh
in
yeah.
this episode. Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
very hard thing to wrap
Mm-hmm.
the mind around, but it's hell of a good job.
Yeah, my mom has told my brothers and I the story about how when her dad died, she was not able to be there with him in his final days because he told her that if she does that, she stays behind, that he will take us and she will never see us again. And that was how terrified of her of him that she was.
Hmm.
That she went and left with the family, and didn't see her dad for his final days. Like so many people don't really realize how terrifying it is for the mother, other, or just whoever in the relationship is
Yeah,
not the
the partner.
abusive
Yeah.
one, and they don't realize that, and how hard it is like she was like she said how she couldn't take us away from him as well, because like she was so scared that he would find us and then
Hmm.
something bad would happen if he found us.
There's always the fear of some kind of repercussion and
Mhm.
what could. Yeah, yeah, it's daunting, and it can't be easy. And you see these couples, that are abusive to each other, but they don't have kids, and it's like
Yeah.
you want to shake them and give them a shake and say, walk away. Like, find someone who
Yeah.
appreciates you, find someone who respects you, instead of getting locked into something. Because as soon as kids get involved, it
Yeah.
is so much, there's so much more to consider, and it's not just your
Oh
feelings, and
yeah.
you're reconciling the idea of leaving this person and the loss that you'll feel. It's then interrupted. The ripple effect is so dire, so it is a hell of a rock and a hard place kind of scenario,
Yeah,
that
definitely.
that I only now can kind of wrap my head around, but it would take a
There's
lot more for me
yeah.
to fully understand.
I don't think there's a lot else to really talk about with this episode, but it's a very well made episode. There are, as I said, there are definitely some things that I would change about it myself. Of Because just based on things we realize now, how maybe in the 70s they didn't realize how that just a month's time wouldn't be able to
Mhm.
fix someone on
Yeah.
but yeah, and it's not really an episode I enjoy watching that much, but but it is an important episode, and it's important to talk about because people seeing these and whenever I talk about these things on my podcast, I do it because I hope that it might help someone else that's in a similar
Yeah.
situation.
Well well said. Yeah, I think this episode there's some episodes that are just for fun or just for fluff and entertainment, and then there's other ones that are trying to make a statement on a subject. I think this one did very well for an episode about child abuse. In the 70s, we have come clearly a long way from that time to now, but there's always more learning to be done. There's always more advancements that could be made to make things safer for kids in scenarios like this, to make the stigmas around the whole scenario softened and more understood, with empathy for the partner of the person, for the child, for the I wouldn't say the abuser, but these people need to get the focus and understanding of a professional who can keep the kids in the scenario safe, as well as get this person some freaking help and keep the two apart.
Oh, yeah.
And like I say, chaperone visits, things like that, that's one thing. That's progress. But the person who's the abuser needs to suffer some consequence. As far as this episode goes, of just a piece of television or a piece of media, I think that they did some amazing stuff as far as basically shooting it like a horror story in some scenes. They were really effective and scary. And the idea alone of you bring it back to the first thing we mentioned about the scene that was most effective was him being told to bring his dad the beer. With an alcoholic father, bringing them the thing that's only going to make them worse. The irony is so palpable and so like rich with just conflict. You're being demanded to bring them something that is only going to make them even more that Mr. Hyde instead of Dr. Jekyll. It's going to make them worse. And I was very impressed with the fact that a show like The Incredible Hulk from the 1970s would tackle something so effectively. Yeah,
definitely. Since I would like to be able to end this off with a little bit fun, instead of just the entire episode being bleak and depressing. You want to do a Mad Libs together?
Hell yes, man. Hit me with some Mad Libs.
Let's see what story we can do. See, let's we could do I have no idea what this story is about, but it's called On Top of Old Smoky. You want to do that?
All covered with cheese?
I have no idea.
I'm just thinking of isn't all On Top of Spaghetti all covered with cheese from the On Top of Old Smoky? I don't know. Let's go ahead. Do it.
Yeah. Which is this is definitely I don't think this will be a very long one, so depending on how long it is maybe we could do it on air. But this might be what you said is first thing I'm gonna ask for is the food.
Banana.
Okay. An adjective next we need. An adjective is the adjective is sign you add to sign, right?
So like an adverb is a descriptive for an action word, an adjective is a descriptive for a noun. So like stinky cheese or a fat whatever whale. I just watched The Whale with Brendan Fraser, and that's the first thing that came to mind.
I'll say a hulking.
Nice.
That would work, right? As an adjective.
Yeah.
Next perfect. We need a noun.
A zoo.
Okay. And then a verb ending in ed. Punched.
Very on
household item.
Spatula. This isn't going to end up being a Mad Lib about an abusive family, is it? Because I can't handle it.
I would hope not.
It's too much, John. It's too much.
All right. And then a location. Mount Doom.
Nice.
A verb ending in ed.
Okay. Crapped.
Crapped? Okay.
Like pooed?
Yep.
but more vulgar.
Okay. A type of plant. Okay. Bamboo.
Nice.
There's not very many like funny names of plants to choose.
Oh, I beg to differ. Snapdragons, tulips, daffodils.
An adjective.
Stinky.
All right. Oh, the next one, it asks for a measurement. I'm wondering if it means it's like inches or feet or whatever, or does it mean like actual like 6 inches or something,
I would
or
say 47 and a half inches.
okay.
No, wait.
But
Wait.
what I mean is like I don't know whether it means just it wants the kind of measurement, or if it wants like a particular
Oh,
amount.
good point. Good point.
I'll just say 47 inches, as see what happens. It might mess
47
things
and a
up,
half.
but verb ending ed, port, a type of fabric.
Oh, cashmere. Seinfeld fans will enjoy that one. Cashmere.
All right. And then for a next, a type of beverage. Um, let's see. I think I should go with root beer.
Nice. Barks or mug? Wait, what do you guys got in the States? What's the go-to down there?
They have both. We have both Barks and Mug here. Here.
Nice.
The thing is, it's honestly so weird to me how root beer is one of the only sodas where it seems like every brand has their own version of it, versus like basically every other soda, it is a product of one brand.
I think I understand what you're saying.
It's weird to
Do you
me.
have A and W as well? So it's
Yeah,
Barks,
we have A and
Mug,
W as
A and
well.
W, and then
Mm-hmm.
like what? RC root beer.
There's RC Cola, but I don't think RC root beer. A verb.
Not specifically. Okay. Jog.
All right. Let's go mad. All right. So it says, on top of spaghetti, all covered with banana, I lost my hulking zoo ball when somebody punched. It rolled off the spatula and onto the floor. And then my hulking zoo ball rolled out of the Mount Doom. It crept into the garden and under a bamboo. And then my hulking zoo ball was nothing but mush. The mush was was as stinky could be. And then the next 47 inches, it porked into a tree. The tree was all covered with cashmere, and on it grew zoo balls and root beer. So if you eat a spaghetti all covered with banana, hold on to your zoo ball whenever you jog.
Damn, that's just good. That's just good advice.
All right, let's
Let's
do one more of these. All right, let's see. My evil plan to take over the world.
Oh, I like that.
All right, so this one is gonna be a very long one, so it's definitely gonna be the last one we do. But all right,
Okay.
give me an adjective.
Okay. Hairless.
But so next I have a verb. So I'll say paint.
Nice.
Need a noun.
Therapy.
All right, therapy.
Links in the description.
All right, an adjective. Green. Plural noun.
Plural noun.
Yes.
Bones.
All right. All right. Another adjective. Girthy. All right.
Punched, hulking, green, and now you're going with girthy. I like that green has turned from something so wholesome to something so hot. I love it.
All right. We need another adjective.
Yucky.
Yucky, you said?
Sexy.
Oh,
Sorry.
sexy. All
Try
right.
to say it with a kid sloth would say it.
All right. So next, I gotta choose a company name. Huh.
About Barks.
I'm going. I'm going a little bit more mature than that.
Oh, OnlyFans?
Dildos are us.
Is that real?
No, it's not. I'm just.
Oh, okay. Well, it might.
Maybe, but I have no idea.
You didn't look up a dildo company name. You just said that. Got it.
I was just making a joke on Toys R Us.
I like it. I wonder what their return
A
policy.
type of place I need.
A type of place?
Yes.
The checkout line.
Okay.
I know that's a complicated one. I hope it doesn't make sense at all.
All right. We need a number. This is my one. So
you got it.
I'll go with at the classic of 69, and then we need a second number.
Let's go 246.
246. Okay.
My current weight, and I'm trying to get it down.
All right. I gotta do a plural noun. Let's see. A balls. All right. Now I did an adverb.
An adverb.
Yes.
Okay. Exhaustedly. Maybe that's not even a word. Hang on. Yeah, no, it is. Okay, cool.
All right. And now I gotta do an adjective. Nerdy.
Nice.
A verb ending in ing.
Shredding.
All right. And I have another verb ending in ing. So I'm gonna go with sexting.
The only way to text. You heard it here first with the gamma analysis.
Yeah. All right. Verb.
Boink.
All right. Boink. And I got a verb and an ed. So let's see. Flailed.
Flailed?
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
All right. I need a plural occupation.
Proctologists.
Okay. All right. I got that. Now I have a noun, so I'm just gonna go with Hulk on that.
Nice.
All right. A plural event.
A plural event. Okay. Beer fests.
All right.
Since we got St. Patty's Day coming up.
All right, and I got a noun plural. Let's see. Bathhouses.
Amazing.
The next one is an interesting one.
Okay.
Something you hate doing.
Manual labor.
All right. And I have a verb ending in ed. Grilled.
Nice.
I need a noun.
Dingleberry. Do you know what a dingleberry is?
I've heard of it. I would have to guess it's just another word for balls.
Strangely, no. Do you want to hear the definition?
Sure.
And I don't know. You know what? It's I had to clean up one today. Not for myself. Is a slang term for a piece of dried fecal matter that clings to the hair around the anus. And my newest kitten, Moops, has very long hair, and she's still only 6 months old.
Fun.
Unfortunately, when we give her a little bit of wet food treat, she might later that night have a dingleberry, which is what we call in this household a code brown. There you go.
All right. So the next one on was sound, and so I chose Wilhelm scream.
Nice. I can't do a perfect one.
All right. I need a verb.
Suck in.
All right. And I gotta do a state. Oh.
Can I suggest one?
Sure.
Mass of two shits.
All right. And I will be spelling it. I will be spelling it exactly like that.
Nice.
All right.
Can't wait to lose all those Boston listeners.
So that I will. I next will. Since you did that one, I'll do this next one, which is a famous person. I'll do Danny DeVito.
Nice. Oh, he's on.
All right. A verb ending in ing.
Taunting.
All right. And now I next have to do a fraction. So I guess I'll just say 69/420.
69 4/20ths.
Yes.
Amazing. I've never heard that fraction before.
Yeah. So the verb.
Another verb?
Yes.
Okay. Medicate.
All right. I have a noun. I'm gonna just say sex.
It's a good
All
noun.
right. All right. I need an
Do you
adverb.
mind?
Okay.
Can I ask you this? Do you
What?
mind if I read this one at the end? Do you really
It's
want to
on
read?
my phone, so I don't think I would be able
Oh.
to let you read it.
Okay, that's fair. I thought it might have been on your computer screen. You could have shared screen. Okay. What did you need? An adverb?
Yes.
Frantically on your phone.
All
I'm making
right.
you type out all these long fucking answers. Sorry. I'm sorry.
All right, and then I have another noun, so I'm gonna say boobs.
That's 2 nouns, John. No, it's fine.
Okay, then I'll just do singular boob.
Boob.
All right, and
Breast.
finally, I need a personality trait.
Withholding.
All right, okay. Actually, what I can do, I will screenshot this and I will send it to you so you can, and then you can read it.
Oh, John, you're too nice. That's awesome.
All right, I'll send it to you on Discord.
Sweet. Okay. I'll try to do my best here. I'm gonna make this really big. My evil plan to take over the world. I am Dr. Hairless. I am destined to paint the therapy. Unfortunately, the therapy is full of a bunch of green bones that do not agree. So
It's
this
probably
is my...
not good. Your
So
bones
this
shouldn't
is
be
my...
green.
No, if your bones are green, see a physician.
Yeah.
Okay. How would you know, though? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my girthy plan to take over the therapy. To start with, I'll need to build my sexy hideout in an abandoned Dildos R Us complex in the middle of the checkout line. It will have 69 underground floors and only 246 floors above ground. All the balls will open exhaustedly and address me as the great and nerdy Dr. Hairless. I will also have several rooms designed for shredding and sexting anyone who tries to boink me. For anyone.
Okay.
That is after I have flailed the full extent of my girthy plan to them.
Oh God.
Next, I will hire some proctologists to design the Hulkbuster, a machine designed to trigger huge beer fests wherever I want to. And if they don't want to build it, I will capture their bathhouses and threaten to make them manual labor for hours on end. Once it's built, I will have it grilled along the San Andreas Dingleberry. What is it? M.W. Wilhelm scream.
I don't know how. What?
So, I don't know what the MW is, but we didn't
I
enter
have
that.
no
Okay.
idea.
So it's like 4 or 5 times. Obviously, you sucking. I can hold the governor of massive two shits, Danny DeVito, against the threat of taunting 69 over. Wait, 69 420ths of the state into the ocean. And once I have controlled the massive two shits, I will medicate the sex industry into promoting my right to paint the therapy. And frantically, all will succumb to my boob and withholding.
It surprises me how many of those things actually fit in there. Like like the sex industry or Hulkbuster.
Yeah, I was impressed with Hulkbuster. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, like wow.
I didn't know we were gonna say Hulk. What the hell? That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you for letting me read that. That was a lot of fun.
You're welcome. That was a lot of fun. Would you like to have me say something in announcer voice?
I want you to say the last 2 sentences of this Mad Lib in your announcer.
Okay. All right.
Once I have control, that part.
And once I have control. of mass of two shits. I will medicate the sex industry into promoting my right to paint the therapy. And frantically all will succumb to my boob and withstanding.
Withholding.
Oh, withholding.
I just imagine the evil plan being said in front of a bunch of people, and one guy, the script writer, go withhold. Thank you.
That was great. All right, so thank you everyone for listening. And if you like this gamma analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and a 5-star rating on Spotify. I have loved to hear your thoughts on the episodes. Please let me know. If you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more gamma analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. Is there any last things you would like to say before I end off this episode, Keith?
I respect and appreciate how authentic and sharing you are with your life, and this was a fantastic episode to talk about some very important shit.
Thank you. All right. So, this again is your host, Smash John, signing off.